Chris Paul, we all know, future first ballot Hall of Famer, 12-time NBA All-Star. But I'm reading a report right here from Young Masuk. Hope I'm pronouncing the name right, from ESPN. Um, Los Angeles Clippers, James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, they were both shocked when they heard the news that the Clippers decided to send Chris Paul home. This is what Chris Paul said Wednesday night as the Clippers beat BRF's Atlanta Hawks 115-92, ending their 5-game losing streak. I'm just as confused and shocked as you guys. Definitely surprised me, but not just Chris. It's a lot we were dealing with, but that is out of my hands. I got to focus on what I got to focus and what I can control. I guess the front office felt it was the best decision for the organization. Kawhi Leonard said it was shocking to me. I guess they had a conversation, front office made a decision. Um, it was reported, according to Sham Sharania, Paul and his leadership style clashed with Lou and the Clippers, according to sources who told Sharania that the 12-time All-Star was vocal in holding management, coaches, and players accountable. The Clippers believed Paul's style had become disruptive. Sources told Sharania. Lawrence Frank, for those who may not know, he's like the president of basketball operations, I believe, for the Los Angeles Clippers, right, champ?
Yes, sir, I believe.
Yes. Frank said Wednesday that the organization's decision to part with Paul did not stem from one isolated incident and that the sides have had more than one conversation before Paul was informed he would no longer be a part of the team. Ty Lue, the head coach, he was asked whether Paul's departure from the Clippers helps them. He said, I don't think it necessarily helped our team. I don't think the reason why we're 5-16 because of CP's play. I just think that it wasn't a good fit for what he was looking for. Do I want to see CP go out like this? No. I have a lot of respect for him. He's been a friend of mine over the years, and you don't want to see a great go out like this. I'm pretty sure he will find something because he's a great player, but I didn't want to see it end like this. Um,
Yeah,
so
and
it,
he's the president, not the vice president.
yeah, he's the president of basketball operations.
Yeah.
And shout out to our beautiful friend Nessa on the podcast. Love you, Nessa. Um, Fellas, look, it's sad to see it end like this with Chris Paul. He's going back to his old team, the Los Angeles Clippers. But to me, Chip, I don't have a problem with Chris Paul's leadership and style because after all, you look at this team right now, the Clippers, it's a damn shame because they should be much better than 5-16. And when you look at the Clippers years ago, when they acquired Kawhi Leonard in free agency, champ, after when Kawhi Leonard won the NBA championship in Toronto, there were expectations for them to win a championship. And the closest they've gotten was the conference finals the following year after the bubble. And it's just a damn shame for the Clippers. It's a damn shame for the owner, Steve Ballmer, who took ownership of the team back in 2014 after the aftermath of Donald Sterling. It just seems like the Clippers, they just can't get out of their own ways. As for Chris Paul, we all know he's going to retire after the season. And when you look at Chris Paul's body of work, there's no question about it. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest point guards to play the game, 12-time NBA All-Star, one of the most versatile point guards in the game. Not only he can do it offensively, because we all know he can handle the ball. He's a great mid-range shooter. I mean, he's a good enough three-point shooter. He's around 35-36% of his career. But man, he anytime when you put CP3 on your team, you're going to be legitimate. You're going to be competitive. Look what he did with the Hornets, the Clippers. Look at what he did with the Rockets, especially the first year with him and James Harden, or his first and last year with Oklahoma City, or with the Phoenix Suns. When Chris Paul's in the situation, you're going to make the most out of it. You're going to become nothing but better. But now, with the Clippers being 5-16, Chris Paul being 40 years old, I think the Clippers are just saying, you know what? Let's just sit him out because we're not going to go that far anyway to begin with. Because you look at the West right now, you got the Lakers playing out of their minds, especially with Luka and Austin Reeves. LeBron is not even asked to do that much. Matter of fact, last night, first time in a while, not even a double-digit game.
8 points.
8 points.
But
You
had that
look at
sweet but had that sweet pass
Yes.
that won the game though.
Yes. You look at OKC, they still gonna come out of the West as far as my opinion. Jokic, still doing Jokic things. To this day, I will still say Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA. And when you look at the West, man, I just don't see the Clippers at this point, 5-16. I think for them, by sitting Chris Paul home, is an indication that they're starting over. They're gonna start over. They're gonna move on from the old players, start with new players. And that's what I see, because you can't tell me at this point, with the Los Angeles Clippers as presently constructed right now, they are competing. They are going anywhere. If they make a crazy play 10, 11 game winning streak and they at least perhaps make the play-in tournament, I'd be totally astounded. But if you look at this team right now, and I'll find the stats later on the show, you look at scoring. You look at scoring right now. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 24th in the NBA in points per game at 112 and a half. Only the Brooklyn Nets, Indiana Pacers, Sacramento Kings, Dallas Mavericks, and the Washington Wizards average less points per game than the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, you look at their 3-point percentage right now. They're shooting right now with the Los Angeles Clippers. They're around 35.5%. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're around like in that 19th-ish range as far as field 17th-ish range as far as 3-point percentage. But bottom line, they're not the team that they were years ago. They had to move. They're probably moving on from CP3. And once they move on from CP3, what's next with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard? I think this is a step for them to move on, start in a new direction, get some younger players in the draft. And when you look at this freshman draft class, you look at the kid from BYU, you look at Cam Boozer from Duke. Say what you want about Duke, champ, you can't deny him, and
Yep.
you cannot deny all these other freshman players. I
Yep.
think that the Clippers, they're moving on, and by sending Chris Paul home, it's an indication that they're moving in a younger direction and that they're going to start new. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, what's so funny, man, is I remember when we finally became competitive again, and we were starting, and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George went to the Clippers. I never forget we used to call that game between them and the Lakers the Battle of Los Angeles, because we really thought we was going to go back and forth for years, battling in the Western Conference Finals for championships. We thought that at the bubble, we thought that that was the beginning of the Battle of Los Angeles. We thought that was, but come to find out, that was just, hey, the eternal flame was merely a smokescreen, and it's sad. As far as Chris Paul is concerned, man, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at a certain point. You have to look when you are a veteran player. Even Kobe, him being the player that he was, once he got a little bit older and he knew he was on his way out, he took a step back. I remember seeing Paul Pierce and how he was on the Clippers, how he stated he was on the Clippers. He said, man, I used to go to practice and stuff like this, but the way I looked at it, man, I'm on my way out. I'm on my way out. I'm not finna go around here and antagonizing. I'm not finna go around here and try to be a disruptive force. I'm way past my prime. And guess what? I'm not gonna sit around here and antagonize. I'm gonna take a step back. And if these young guys want advice, they can get it. But other than that, I'm finna enjoy this ride and ride this wave. And sometimes that's what you have to do. Although Chris Paul is a very, very competitive player, you want to be competitive. Guess what? You are not in your prime anymore. You're not going to be that difference maker that they need. Guess what? This is going to be your last year. Chill out, have a farewell tour, Let the NBA fans and the people and the franchise that you help bring to prominence wish you well on your way out and just chill. Sometimes, in the great words of a famous minister, you could get a lot of trouble because your darn mouth. So all of that trying to, and I understand him being the competitor that he is, but at this point, if you were 26 and had this attitude, I completely understand. I completely understand. You're going to be the difference maker. You want to win, but when you went to this team, the Clippers, you knew that they were Clippers, but they ain't giving no lineups. In fact, they pushing people's hairline back because they just that horrible. That's the kind of Clippers that they are right about now. They ain't them good Clippers. That's gonna get the edge and give you that triple fade and give you that uptown fade. That's the fade. They them Clippers that's gonna push your hairline back like mistletoe. So you knew what you was getting yourself into. This your farewell tour. Now's not the time to be challenging people. I understand you being competitive, but guess what? Even Kobe, once he was in his farewell tour, hey, it's up to y'all now. I can't go around here challenging people like I used to. Now, is it unfortunate after all he did for this franchise that they treated him that way? Yes. Do I agree with that? Yes. No, I don't. Excuse me. I don't agree with how they treated him because he did a lot for that franchise. That franchise owes Chris Paul a lot because there was never a time in the history of that franchise other than when Larry Brown was there with Danny Manning. And that was one of the worst teams I ever saw make a playoff run. That was one of the worst teams I ever saw make a playoff run. But other than that, the Clippers have not been relevant in any way before Chris Paul and Lob City. They have not been relevant. So it's unfortunate to see a person who was a cornerstone of a franchise at one point get sent home. But at the same time, once you get a little bit older and realize you're not the cornerstone anymore, guess what, man? Just ease back and ride that wave, man. Not That's not the time to be. I'm going to hold guys accountable. No, this is not the Clippers that you left. These are not Doc Rivers's and Donald Sterling's the Donald Sterling tragedies Clippers. This is a whole new regime. This is a whole new ball club. This is a whole new coach. This is not your team anymore. And I understand being a competitor, but this is your last year. Do you really want to go out on your sword like that? No. Do you really want it to end like that? No. Do you really need it to be in a way where this is how you want to be remembered? Because the thing is this. Am I speaking too loud, man?
No, it's the noise in the background. It's all good, champ.
But my bad. But when you think about all the things that went on, it's not your team anymore. This is not Lob City anymore. You're no longer in your prime. Take that step back and look. You know this team is not competitive. You know it's not competitive. So don't be a disruptor. I understand competitive nature. Hey, you guys should want to be. Yes, I get all of that. You are a winner. We know that. Chris Paul may not have a championship, but he is a winner. But on your last year, hey, enjoy the farewell tour. We thank you for everything that you did for the NBA. We thank you for everything you did for Lob City. We thank you for everything you did for the city of Los Angeles. But it's time to put certain things to rest at a certain point. You can't go around here and still have that mentality that you had when you was 30, now that you're 40. This is not that same team. You're not going to be if they were competitive, I will say. And if their record, if they had won, let's say 14 games and they was like 14-6, yeah, okay. Hold guys accountable. Hold their feet to the fire. I understand that. But this is not that team. Kawhi's probably on his way out. James Harden probably on his way out. And they're probably about to blow this thing up. And that
Well, you
uh
can't trust him at this point right now because Kawhi, as great as he is, champ, the problem, and we discussed this on Babyface Heel, his injuries throughout his career, and with James Harden. But the thing is, I don't have a problem with CP3 holding coaching staff, management, and players accountable, champ, even if it's his last year. Still in all, that tells you a lot about the Clippers organization. And if I'm Chris Paul, but at the same time, why would you go to the Clippers if you're trying to compete? If you want to go elsewhere, that's one thing. I can understand that, but at the same time, the Clippers organization, they have to be held accountable because, again, if you're tolerating or condoning this type of behavior in terms of losing, then what does it say about you or as an organization? Tells me that you're not interested in winning at this point, and you're more interested in focusing on the future by starting off from scratch, getting rid of the older players, getting some newer players, building a new culture, establishing a new culture, something that Clippers fans can look to behold. And it's interesting with you, champ, because remember, rest his soul, David Stern prevented CP3 from going to your Lakers because he was supposed to be traded to the Lakers. But because Commissioner David Stern got in at the time, unfortunately for y'all, that didn't happen. He ended up going to the Los Angeles Clippers. Just imagine if Chris Paul actually was in the Lakers uniform with rest his soul, Kobe Bryant, and with an Andrew Bynum and with a Pau Gasol.
That would have been an interesting. Well, Paul Pal would have went on the Rockets.
He
So
probably would have been traded, but
yeah,
either
Pal.
way, but I believe CP3 and Pau Gasol, they would have definitely worked because of what CP3 can do as far as with pick and roll, and Pau as far as him expanding his 3-point game and hitting mid-range shots though.
Yeah, that was the most excited I had ever been because the Lakers had a chance to transition from an aging yet great star to a new star. CPT was, I believe, if that would have happened, we would have been in mediocrity for so long after Kobe, the late great Black Mamba, left. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But outside of that, but look, I hated that that didn't happen. But in turn, we got to see Lob City. We got to see a combination that was very, very similar to Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. Blake
True.
Griffin and
DeAndre Jordan.
CP3 was very, very similar to Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. So we got to see that Los Angeles style. Not to mention they could run the gun with the best of them as well. So
Unfortunately for them, they never went to a conference championship game, champ, because they had two good chances against OKC. They lost in six because remember, they had a big lead in the fourth quarter. I think it was like 9 to 7 points, and then OKC just came back out of nowhere. And no one can forget the 3-1 deficit that they blew, particularly in game six at the Staples Center at the time, because James Harden, the runner up for the league MVP, although I felt like he should have won the MVP that year over Steph, he was on the bench. And it took every bit of Dwight Howard, Josh Smith, Corey Brewer, and the rest of those guys to come back and push it to a game seven and for them to win game seven. Unfortunately, with Chris Paul at this point, it's sad because again, he's not going to have a championship. But I still believe that you know what that still doesn't mean he's not great. It's just really unfortunate, and I just think that the Clippers they realize, look, we're not going to compete. We're not going that far. And by with his leadership style, although I don't really have a problem with it, because again, if he's not only holding himself, he's holding everyone accountable. That's a testament to how bad he wants it. But at the same time, the Clippers they just feel like you know what, we're gonna send you home because according to Sham's report, they're saying they believe that he's being disruptive to the team, so we'll just send him home. Kind of like how with Andy Reid, how he sent Terrell Owens home
mhm,
because once he got into it with Brad Childress, the offensive coordinator.
yeah, and Hugh Douglas, the defensive end.
Well, Hugh Douglas even admitted that he was going to that he wanted to get into a fight with To
Hugh
because he
Douglas.
was siding with Donovan at that time, Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, and got touched up real good, but that's another story for another day.
I didn't
But
hear
Chris,
about that.
he got touched up real good. Hey man, To is not no small dude, bro. Don't get it twisted. To is not no small. That dude is 6'3", like 220. That's a big old dude. So
He's not scared. No, To's not scared. Yeah,
that's
say
a big
whatever you
old dude.
want. I mean, and one thing, you know what about To? In some ways, he kind of reminds me of Champ
Yeah,
Bret Hart.
yeah.
You see how Bret Hart is attacking everyone nowadays, especially what he said about Vince and Sean, which we'll save that for another time. But Bret Hart, make no mistake about it, he is unapologetic. He calls it like he sees it. Same
Mm.
thing with T.O. He calls it like he sees it. People can say he can whine and complain. Oh, just let it go, move on. But hey, but with CP3, man, it hurts. I wish he could go somewhere else. The question is, who would take him? I don't know. Maybe it would have to be a team that would be in playoff contention. But let me get BRF here. BRF, what are your thoughts about the Clippers sending Chris Paul home?
Chris Paul has always been one of those like really true like vocal leaders who've like I don't know it's I don't know even in the Clippers position. I mean, they really don't have leverage to be all like, oh well, Chris. I mean, I understand from Ty's Lue's perspective because he's the coach, but at the same time, it's like you need veteran leadership like that to a certain extent. I mean, you're 6-16 now. Yeah, you beat the Hawks. You beat the Hawks the other night, but I mean, I hate to toot my team's horn, but you beat them without a lot of starters. I mean, let's be real here. But I think they really don't have the room to be all like wanting to kick him to the side because he's because of his voice and how loud he can be. Because I mean, they're not a good team right now. They need all the leadership. They need all the voices. They need all of the strong. They need all the strong leadership that they can get. So, I personally think I think the Clippers are going to be in a position now. I don't know. I don't see them really getting better. If I think by mid-season, I think they're going to be like James Harden. I think is going to be available. I don't know. I don't see this team really getting any better. I don't see the point in it, but I mean, they know better than me, so I don't know. I didn't see the point in it personally.
Just want to make a quick correction. Clippers, they're 18th in the NBA as far as 3-point percentage. I want to make that minor correction real quick. But it's sad, BRF, because again with Chris Paul, like I just mentioned it with Champ, because in 2011 he was supposed to be traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, not the Clippers. But Commissioner Stern, rest his soul, interfered, and they decided to for Chris Paul to be traded to the Clippers. Can you imagine Chris Paul with Kobe Bryant with that backcourt?
My thing with that was this: how do you veto Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant, but let LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh go? Like, I don't see the
It was a
I don't
conspiracy.
see the logic. I don't see the logic in that.
It was a
I don't see
conspiracy
the logic in that.
for the Lakers because if we would have kept stacking up, I don't believe LBJ would have got that first one. If we would have faced and kept that team going the way we was going, wouldn't have been we would have ruled for the next few years. Can you imagine the free agents that could have came to Los Angeles had CP3 been there? Can you imagine the attraction that it would have been?
Says it right here.
Oh,
The Chris
y'all
Paul.
would have changed. Y'all would have changed a lot of. They would have changed a lot of history. They would have changed. Y'all would have changed a lot of history had that trade was able to go through.
It says here the Chris Paul trade to the Lakers was vetoed. I'm reading it from AI Overview. It was the Chris Paul trade to the Lakers was vetoed by then Commissioner David Stern because the NBA temporarily running the New Orleans Hornets, now Pelicans, and Stern wanted to ensure the franchise was valuable enough for a future sale. Other contributing factors included other NBA owners' pressure to prevent a disproportionate power imbalance and the belief that the Lakers trade package wasn't good enough compensation for a player of Paul's caliber.
Chris Paul, here's your chance. Come to death row.
You want him with the
Hey,
Lakers?
you want to check? Hey, look, we got.
Who
Look,
are you willing to give up?
look. Come, hey, they sent them home. Come to death row.
Oh, you want to give? Okay, give him a 1 year deal.
Give him a 1 year deal. Come to death row. We got a chance to win a championship this year. Come to death row.
He's gonna have to come off the bench, but I'm quite sure that's something that he will gladly
Come
handle.
to death
And what better
row.
way to do it to reunite with his former buddy and friend LeBron
Yeah.
James?
And hey, look, look, hey, look. It's kind of like if y'all had a big
Why
time
you
show
trying?
on the ES.
You trying to do what Snoop did? You trying to convince Suge to bring Tupac to death row? That's what you trying to do right here.
Absolutely. Look, man, look. Your best friend. Look, I'm gonna just be real. It's kind of like me getting a job at ESPN. Who y'all think I'm finna call? I ain't even call nobody else. I'm finna say get on the phone and call PSP, BRF, and Flash. That's who I want. Especially if I got clout in that organization. If I had that Stephen A type of clout in that in ESPN, you know what I'm saying? Bring my boys to death row. So yeah, I'm if I'm LeBron, I'm campaigning not only for because this team is dangerous. Austin Reeves, Luca, LeBron. And guess what? The rotational players are there. DeAndre Ayton, he's having a resurgence. Guess what? Let me see if I can bring my friend in for one last hurrah. And although it'll be a token ring, it's a ring nevertheless. I think that we have a chance to win. I'm not saying we're gonna win. I think we have a chance to win. We're second in the West right about now. We're second in the West. So we have a good chance to win. And Luca is playing out of his mind. Hey, it's
Not just
Batman.
Luca, Austin Reeves too.
Yes, it's Batman, Robin, and Alfred. So, hey, bring him in. Just kind of like how San Antonio, when they thought they were going to beat the Miami Heat, they brought in Tracy McGrady in order to bring him off the bench. Granted, he was a passenger on the ride, but guess what? They was able to bring him in. Guess what? See if you can bring your friend in. If you're LeBron, just like I would, if I had a chance to bring my friend in, we might be on the verge of something special this year with Luca and Austin Reeve and me taking a back step. Let me see if I can get. Let me see if I can bring you in and get you a ring going out the door. And if I can do that, especially going up against some of these powerhouses in the West, guess what? That's the nail in the coffin. I get to have a. I get to go out with a ring, being on the team that I should have been on in the first place. So if I'm Chris Paul, I'm calling my best friend and saying, "Hey, can you get me on the Lakers? Can you get me on that Laker team, even if I have to sit in the bench?" And guess what? I hold people accountable in that organization. Why? Because guess what? You have a chance to do something special. You have a chance to not only dethrone, dethrone, dethrone the Oklahoma City Thunder in the West, but you have a chance to not only bring another championship back to Los Angeles for the first time in 5 years since the bubble. But guess what? Number 5 for LeBron James. All of that goes into play. So if I'm Chris Paul, I'm calling my best friend and say, "Hey man, can you get me? I come off the bench, do whatever I need to do, add some utility scoring, add some veteran leadership, but get me to death row."